All right, we are live. Let me just go to my thing here so I can find myself. Just make sure. Let me just clean my lens here real quick. Make sure the image is as clear as possible. And we shall be having fun in about a minute. Just give people time to come on in here. Some of these tools. Needles, tools. Got some Vaseline. Nobody's here yet. Where's my phone? What did I do with my phone? Oops. Hello, hello, hello. How is everybody doing today? Just make sure that the volume is all the way up. Hi, Brandy. Hello, Sandra. How are you doing today? Finally gonna get to use my little thingamajigs over here. And we're gonna need some paint. Woohoo! Hi, Patricia. Just getting myself set up over here. Making sure I have access to my paints because we're gonna need them. So how you ladies doing today? I want to show you what I've made. It's nothing major. I'm a little out of practice. I haven't done this in quite some time. But I made, it's a little teapot. And hopefully this thing will show you guys. Good, I know that lighting is kind of bright. With the lid and everything. So I made my first little charm out of the porcelain clay that I made. Super dainty. I've also made this little rose here. And it's kind of hard to see it because it's all white on white, but I'm trying to create some shadow. So maybe you guys can see the details. But we're going to be making one of these live as well. And then I made this huge mother lover. And I have no idea what this flower is. I know it's some kind of a flower. I just don't know the name of it. With lots of texture. And what's good about this is it's not completely dry yet, but it's air dry clay, so the outside layers start drying a lot quicker than the inside layers, making it a little bit easier to kind of handle and manage. Yes. Oh, really? You like seeing me in the kitchen, Patricia? Seeing me get down, that's my second passion, is cooking. I've been cooking since I was 9. I love to cook. At least 4 out of the 7 days of the week. Yes, Brandy. I thought of that already, girl. Make some little things to hang on there. So this is the clay that I already have made. I've made this clay a couple days ago. So which was pretty cool because when I got my winnings from Brandy and this was part of the kit, it actually has I haven't opened it up all the way, but I was looking through the sides and I'm like, oh, this is gonna be perfect because this little hook that I put in here, I actually made that myself with wiring that I received from Tanya. Because I don't know if you guys saw, she sent me a package with all different color wirings, which are, I have those right in here. If I can get this thing to open. I have like all these different color wirings in there. So I made that little, the little loop for this out of that. And it's just trying little things, you know. You start small and then you work your way up. What I'm actually thinking about doing, Brandy, and I don't want to spoil all the surprise because I don't know if it's going to work the way I want it to work. But my plan is to sculpt the mermaid out of the modeling clay. If I can't do her whole body because I'm not that good at the body parts yet, then I'll definitely feel like sculpting out like her tail, making it really nice. And making that tail like really nice. At least I see it nice in my head. And hopefully I can encompass that into part of it being caught up in the net. So it's just part of the things that I'm thinking about. Hopefully it comes out well. Can you use that clay, a mold thingy, you know, like, so? Yes, you can. So this is why I wanted to do this, because since I made that video, I know a lot of you guys are probably going to be like, so how do we use it? How do we play with it? So on and so forth. So this clay is extremely awesome. It's very versatile. It lasts for a really long time as long as you store it well. I've had clay that's lasted months without me playing with it just because I've had it in a nice sealed container. It's air dry clay, so you don't have to bake it. You don't have to put it in the microwave or anything like that. And so once you make your little sculptures and stuff, they'll last a really long time. It'll dry almost like it's almost like a plastic glass is the best way that I can describe it, because it feels like glass, but it's not glass, and it almost feels like plastic. It's as hard as plastic, but it's not plastic because there's no flexibility or anything like that in it. But you don't have to bake it. You can color it any color that you want. When you're going to use silicone molds, you push the clay into the molds and you just leave the mold to the side overnight. In most, like, in the other clay, which is like the one that Tanya gave me, I have some right here so that I can show you guys. Let me pull out this purple piece because it's already open. This is like Sculpey, I think it's called. It's like that Sculpey clay. And it's got very similar consistency as far as thickness and heaviness and so on. But this clay you have to bake. You have to bake at 250 or 275 for a few minutes to get it to get hard. Although, in my research, I did find that you can actually mold what you're going to mold. And I haven't tried it. I'm going to try it too. And I'm probably going to record it as I do it just to see if it does work. But what you can do is that once you mold it, you can actually drop it in boiling water for a few minutes. You know, take it off the stove and just put it in boiling water for a few minutes, and that should also get it hard. So I'm gonna try that method because I don't really know about baking it, as far as, you know, fumes and stuff like that. I've heard that it does kind of let off some fumes. This doesn't let off any fumes, you guys. There's no fumes in this because you're not baking it, you're not cooking it, you're molding it and you're setting it to the side. And it dries on its own, and depending on the size, depending on how long you need to leave it drying for, it could be anywhere from a couple of hours. Like this was just done maybe an hour and a half ago, and it's already kind of hard. I mean, I won't go ahead and squeeze it because I don't want to mess it up, but it's already feeling kind of hard, kind of stiff. I did this one pretty much right before I did that one, and the edges are already a little bit stiff. So, and you could almost kind of hear it when it drops. It has like that, you know, it has like that little thump when it drops already. So I'm gonna try this clay too and see if I can make it hard without cooking it, and just give you guys my experience as far as working with it. I've never worked with Sculpey clay, and when I wanted to buy some, obviously I'm like, I can't afford it, so there's no point in me just buying one. If I'm gonna buy, I want to buy, you know, a certain amount. I want to try different things. And so in my search for finding alternatives to this, I came across the Cold Porcelain, and did it. Now when I did it in the microwave, because there is a microwave option. If you don't want to use the stove, you don't have to. But in the microwave option, which is what I was using before, I have overcooked it at times. I've made it a little bit hard. Still pliable, you can still kind of mold it and move it around, but it was a little bit harder. And let me stop playing with this. I just love playing with these kinds of things. It was a little bit harder, and as far as the longevity of it, it didn't last as long. So I tried the stovetop method for the first time on Monday. I never cooked it. I always did it in the microwave. I just thought it was super fun, super easy. I'm like, microwave, microwave, microwave. But I'll be honest with you, doing it in the stove, how I showed you in the video, is a lot better. The result is a lot better, and it cooks quicker. And I mean, I really like how it feels. I like the consistency of it, and I like how it stretches. So I'm really happy with the end result. Hey, Michelle. So right now I'm actually waiting on molds. I did go ahead and buy some molds. But another thing that I want to do, that I'm gonna do, is I'm gonna show you guys how to make your own molds using silicone that you use for caulking of bathtubs and tiles and stuff like that. They sell it in Family Dollar and pretty much in most stores that are like, they have like home repair stuff. You can find it for really cheap, like a whole tube. And again, mixing that with some cornstarch, and you can make your own molds that are very durable. I've made them before. I just forgot to go to the Family Dollar place and get myself a tube so that I can show you guys how to do that as well. But I'll leave that for another video, and I'll show you guys how to make the molds yourself, and pretty much save yourself a lot. Now, obviously, if you want custom molds for certain things, then, you know, by all means go and buy them. But let's say you have like a capuchin, or you have something that you want to replicate, you know, you can go ahead and create a mold for it, and then create yourself some of this cold porcelain, and you have a mold that'll last you for pretty much ever if you take care of it. And you have a recipe that you can recreate time and time again. And you know, when school time starts, the glue, especially the school glue, goes on sale, and you can buy sometimes 4 bottles for $1, which is like super awesome. And with 4 ounces, I mean, I made all this with 4 ounces of glue. This is quite a lot. I'll tell you right now how much this weighs in my little vintage. I got a little vintage scale, so I'm gonna tell you right now how much this weighs. This is exactly 8 ounces on the dot. It's 8 ounces of cold porcelain right here, with a 4-ounce bottle of glue, and about less than a cup of cornstarch, some Vaseline, and you're good to go. Hello, Dominica Jones. So, what I'm going to show you guys today, assuming that you guys either made yours or you're going to make it, whatever the case may be, I'm going to show you how to color them so that you can create different colors. Just like polymer has different colors in clays, you can do the same with this, and all you need is a little bit and it goes a long way. I'm going to recreate this little rose that I made here. And also, I have some different shaped wood chips, like this is a rectangle wood chip. And these will be great to like let them dry and like paint designs on them, or make a nameplate or a little plaque, or just add a little saying in your own writing or whatever you want. Or you could even stamp on this once it's all said and done. You could glaze it with a glazing medium over it and just allowing it to dry. I mean, once it's dry, you can pretty much do almost anything to it. And they're not so easy to break unless your piece is really, really frail. Now, let's see. Thank you. I bought it for 50 cents at the thrifty store. It's from, I'll tell you right now, I have an older one too. I just can't find it. From the same company. This is from 1988, you guys. From 1988. I must have been 79, 88. I was 9 years old when when they made this version of it. So it's based on the old school stamps. And back then it used to be 25 cents in 1988 for one stamp. I got it from a thrifty store. And I paid, I think it was either 50 or 75 cents I paid for it. So I don't use this to pretty much see how much, you know, it's paying postage, because we're way beyond this point at, you know, by now. But I do use it because it goes up to £1. So I know how much my package weighs, you know, when I'm going to ship something out. So I'll know if I can add more, if I got to take some stuff out, depending on what the weight limit is for what I'm sending, so on and so forth. So that's just my little handy dandy little vintage something something. Well, Brandy, if you do, I'll go shopping. But I'm going to be honest with you guys. I went the other day, and the only thing I found, I'll actually show you what I found. This is the only thing that caught my interest that I found. And I'm going to use this on my planner. And it's a collection by Kathy Wizardwhite. I think. I have no idea. But it's a comic book. Oop. It's a comic book thing that I'm going to cut up and use it for journaling and for my planner. And that's pretty much the only thing that I found was this. I'm trying to remember. But yeah, that was the only thing that I really found, was that little comic book. So sometimes they have things, sometimes they don't. It really all depends. Sometimes I'll walk in and I'll walk right back out. Yeah, for 50 cents. And it's my second one. I have another one from 1950 something. It's the same company, the same brand, same model and everything. So they didn't change that model much. But it's from 1950 something. And I looked them up. They're not worth much, but it's a nice piece of history. It's got, I think the postage back then was like 10 cents or something like that. And I have it in the box and everything. So let's see here. So to go back to what I was saying here, I'm going to show you about coloring these. Also, I'm going to talk to you guys about pretty much, like I said, you can use wood chips that you have and just kind of overlay it. Like I have a few of them here that I'm going to do that to. I have a heart. I have a butterfly, this little teddy bear. I have a wing that I want to create more wings out of. And I have this cute little, it's like this little piece here, but I'm only going to cover the back because I don't want to damage the front. And I'm going to trace it out, and I'm going to pretty much set it to the side so that it dries in this shape. And I also have this little shoe that I thought would be cute to like recreate. And then hopefully turn into some kind of a charm. So, yes, she's funny. I remember those comics from when I was little in the newspaper. I think they still have them to this day. She's still around and very popular. She's like Peanut. So just to show you guys, this is the batch that I made in the video. We're going to get into that. But I'm going to get into this one because I've already kind of been playing with it for quite some time today. Just trying to get myself ready. And this is kind of what you want. Granted, you're going to have a little bit of sticking in certain places, but you don't want it to be goopy. If you find that your cold porcelain after you make it is goopy and it's just sticking and it's very kind of loose, then what you want to do is you want to grab some more cornstarch, not too much, but you want to grab some more cornstarch and start kneading that in there until you get it to this consistency. When I made this one, it was very loose, but I added more cornstarch to it and I blended it in, and not on the stove. I'm talking about off the stove already. And pretty much now it's to the consistency where I can handle it and I don't have a mess in my hands. As with any clay, you always want to work the clay a little bit before you start you know, using it. But I just love playing with this thing. It's so relaxing. And this is why, kind of like I say, that as far as the recipe itself, it's a very basic recipe. However, you know, if you happen to go a little over with the cornstarch, then just add more glue. If you happen to go a little under with the cornstarch, then, you know, what I said. You go over with the cornstarch, add more glue. If you go under with the cornstarch, then you could always add more cornstarch later on. You know, once you feel that it's formed, you know, it's kind of cleaning up the bottom of your pot, that it's all sticking together and kind of forming a clump like I showed in the video, then you could pretty much take it off. From that point on, you could add glue or cornstarch to it if you need. If you grab it and you feel like it's not good enough, if it's not sticky enough, if it's not forming a peak, like you want it to form like a nice little peak like that, if it's not forming a peak, then you can always add one or the other of the ingredients until you get it just right, and just massage it in there, you know, one at a time, depending on what you're needing. And you could go customizing your, you know, your recipe to how you want it. Hi, Debbie. Debbie, I received your beautiful IC card. I've actually received 4 IC cards so far. I'm working on videos and getting all of that stuff going so that I can start showing everybody the awesomeness that I have received. So this is very low odor, you guys. I mean, literally, it doesn't have much of an odor. I use lemon juice, which smells better than the vinegar. But if you don't have lemon juice and all you got is vinegar, then just use white vinegar. It's gonna smell a little bit like vinegar, but not too much. It's not something that you can't tolerate. It's, you know, it's very light. So I have my cold porcelain, and what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna start taking. You always want to make sure you keep it in a bag. You keep it somehow wrapped up because it dries with the air. So I'm gonna grab some bits here, and I want to color some of these bits up so that I can start making something. So I'm thinking I'm gonna make another rose. So I'm just gonna grab some paint, and this is not the red one that I want. Okay, this is cadmium red hue, and this is just a media paint by Deco Art. You can hey Tammy, how are you, darling? You can use watercolor. You can even color this with marker. If you add some marker onto this, right onto the surface, and blend it in, it'll blend in. So you can use marker, watercolor, you know, watercolor markers, paint, acrylic paint. You can pretty much color with almost anything. You could use food coloring. You could use inks. I mean, you can color with everything. You just want to add a little bit. You don't want to go too overboard. So this is cadmium red hue, and I'm going to make a rose out of this. I'm probably going to make more than one rose. This is enough to go a long way, depending on how big you want it. So I just added a little bit in there. And you just kind of want to fold that in there. And once you've done your coloring to it, just remember how you got to store it. So I'm kind of pushing it in and squeezing it out. Right now it looks very marbly. And you could always add more if you want to add more. So I got like a nice little pink color. If you want it darker, you can go ahead and get it darker if you want. Another little trick of the trade is to add a little bit of Vaseline to your hands every now and then, or to your fingers, I would say, more so than anything, just so that you're not creating any sticking to yourself. So I kind of just dip my fingers real quick in Vaseline and just put that in there. So I'm actually pretty okay with this color. Let me just add a little bit more. Just kind of adding some Vaseline to this so that it's not so sticky as I add my color. So I'm just going to add another little drop of this red in here just to get it a little bit darker. And again, just kind of folding it in there. And you might have it might get a little sticky on you as you go, because obviously you're adding a wet agent to clay, and as you guys know, clay, when you put water on it, you know, gets all slippery and slidey, so that's to be expected. But here we have some nice red. Looks like bubble gum. I got my little Vaseline on the side just so that I can remove some of the stickiness as I go. So the rose is actually very simple, you guys. It's nothing, it's not that hard to make. I'm gonna go ahead and show you. I thought I was gonna need this, but I guess I might not. We'll see what happens. And you're gonna start with a little piece. So you wanna make yourself, depending on how many petals you want, you just wanna make yourself a couple little balls. And this is actually a little big. So I'm thinking somewhere around there. Just a couple little tiny little balls is what you want. And again, if you feel at any point like it's sticking to your hands, then all you gotta do is just very lightly dust your fingers with some Vaseline and you should be good to go. And the little does go a very long way. Like that's probably a little big. I need a tiny scooper, probably. Or you could use a blade, or I got some index cards here in case I need them. Hopefully I won't, but they sell tools for this kind of stuff. I have, like, this is a tool for clay, which I have no idea how to use it, so I don't even bother. These are, my scoring tools are actually sculpting tools that I just use for scoring. So I'm thinking that's pretty big right there. You want them to be as close to the size of each other as possible. I know that's not the easiest thing to accomplish, but you want them to be as close in size as you possibly can get them, so that your leaves are not too, like, exaggeratedly big. And I hope you guys can see what I'm doing well. I actually got into this because I liked adding dimension to my mixed media projects, and I like creating, like, just inventing like different shapes and just different textures and just doing different things to them. And I would lay it out like a sheet and just let it dry all you know, wobbly and stuff, and at all different angles, and I would just add all kinds of texture to it and do it that way. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We have about 5 here. And I think I'm gonna make one more and make it a total of 6, just in case I need that 6th one. I don't want to be short. And then I'm gonna wrap up the air dry clay while I work with this one. I always grab too much. So I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 little balls here. I'm gonna roll up the rest of this together. And I'm gonna put it in here with my white one. I just don't want it to dry because it starts drying instantly. From the moment that you let it go, it starts to dry. Hey Liz! So, I was looking at your word tiles today, Liz, and I'm like, oh my god. I actually made some kind of word tiling, but this is like with clay on top. And I was just like, oh cool. Somehow we're always on the same wavelength. So let's see here. So you can do this one of two ways. You can use a stick or you can use a needle. Either way, I'm going to use a needle because I think it's just easier. And I'm going to grab the smallest one out of all of these that I have. And I'm just going to kind of press it. I'm just going to kind of press it. Now this is going to be a bigger flower than this one that I made. It's going to be a little bit bigger than this one. But I wanted you guys to be able to see it. And all you want to kind of do is just kind of curl that around that. And just kind of pinch that so that it stays put. So you guys can kind of see that. So you kind of just wrap it around and just kind of twirl it a little bit. And you're good there. Now what I need is somewhere to stick this thing at, this needle, as I'm working. I was trying to find... It didn't stay. Sugar. Okay, well that didn't work. Let's just put that there for now. So just kind of pressing it in with your thumb pretty much does it. And then you just want to kind of narrow this little end here down a little bit. And then you just stick it down and pinch it in the bottom. And you already kind of have your first little petal there. And it's okay if they have texture because, as you know, roses wilt and they turn in all different shapes, you know, as they start moving along. So it is quite alright. So here we have the second petal added in. And you just want to curl it and give it a little bit of life. You could start adding some, you know, imprints here and there, adding a little bit of folding. Kind of like how real flowers kind of do. You know, that natural. I'm looking for something that I can actually use. Let's see, let's see. Let me see if I find something, you guys, because I need something to kind of hold this up. I'm trying to find my foam. I have a piece of foam that I like to use for these kinds of things. I don't know where I put it. I have no idea where I put it, so let's see. Let's see. Oh, heavens. Heavens to Betsy. Okay. Alrighty, so I don't find it. I'm gonna do this for now. Leave it in there. This is how I play with my now and laters before eating them. Oh, yes. It's kind of like that. Except these don't taste so sweet. I think that's what now laters, people love now laters so much. Such a fun toy to play with. It's not just food. If you feel like they're getting a little stiff, just warm them up a little bit by rubbing it in your hands again. Now, I personally like the imperfections. If you're, if you're a perfectionist, by all means, work at it a little bit until you get it just right. I kind of like the imperfections because in nature, nothing is perfect either. It appears perfect, but nothing is really perfect. So I kind of like the imperfections of how it looks together. And I'm just kind of bringing it in closer together. We're on the same train. We're on the same train, Liz. Don't you worry. So, I mean, that's pretty much it. It's very simple to make a flower. I mean, to make a rose is very simple. Once you twirl that center piece, the rest kind of fall into place. And you don't have to really go too crazy. And you could keep adding on this and adding on this and adding as many more as you like. And then you just want to kind of play with the edges a little bit and just give them a little bit of texture. You could thin them out a little bit more. And if you want to add texture to this, you can add texture to this. I mean, it's completely up to you. But once it's done, you just slide the needle out. I like to kind of dab them just a little bit to kind of flatten it out in the bottom. But I'm pretty much okay with this one. I like how it looks. And I like how it came out. I'm getting used to these nails because my nails didn't grow for years and now they don't stop growing. So like it's hard for me to maneuver things and they're not even that long and it's like a pain in my butt. So this is pretty much done. So we could just pretty much put that to the side. Now for smaller ones, you make tinier, you make tiny little balls. And instead of pressing them in with your finger, maybe you want to get something that is rounded at the end so that you can just kind of round them in. Or you can buy sculpting tools, very cheap on eBay. I think it's like $1 or something like that, $2. And you'll get like the whole array of sculpting tools. You want to go more expensive than that, then they have other ones with, more things that you can use. So you can always do that. And I still have some red left over, so I'm going to put this red to good use. And we have a heart here. And I'm just going to pretty much show you how you can, a heart is very simple to sculpt by hand. You can always do that, by sculpting it by hand. But if you wanted to have like a precise, image or shape, then what you can do is kind of squeeze the shape onto it, almost like if you wanted to make a mold. And you want these to have a certain level of thickness, so you don't want these to be too thin, because it dries and it'll be like paper and then they'll bend all over the place. I mean, if that's what you want to go for, I've done that, on purpose at times. But if you're trying to create like a little, a certain piece for something and you don't want it to bend, then you don't want it to be too thin. You want to have it some thickness there. Thank you, ladies. And then just cut off, any excess that you don't need. And this is what I love about this. It's so cheap to make. It's very inexpensive to make. It's very easy to handle and manage. If you mess up, you can always, you can afford to make mistakes is what I'm trying to say. You can afford to make mistakes because it's very cheap to make. So you could just make yourself another batch. And, you don't have to worry about it. I meant to ask you about the molds you showed on IG. How did they turn out? I have the molds here. I'll get into those molds and I'll talk to you guys about those molds in a second. I'm like not very excited about them. I don't think I used the right things to mold with. I think that was my biggest issue. I'm trying to take this off with a cardstock. As you guys can see, I'm having technical difficulties over here. Are you guys hearing my echo or is it just me? Because I'm hearing myself. I don't know if you guys are hearing me and hearing the echo. But I have those molds. Hello, hello. How are you doing today? Thank you for joining. So pretty much you can just kind of do it like that and then take them right off. And so you just have the shape. And again, put them somewhere. You want to make sure that it's flat. As flat as you can get it. If you have wax paper, then I would recommend that on the pieces that you don't, they don't have dimension, that they don't have like certain patterns and stuff like that. You can put wax paper and put like a book or something, or fold them in wax paper, put them inside of a book or something that will keep them flat. Other than that, then you could just stick them down and just don't touch them, because that's the biggest thing. I know for me, impatience is like the worst. I seem very patient here on live, but I am extremely, extremely impatient in real life when it comes to things like this, to little projects and just things that I'm waiting to dry, or I'm always touching. That's like the big red button for me. I'm always touching. So, I mean, that's something that you guys can do right there. And I'm just going to work this clay before it gets too dry. And we don't have much red left over. So I'm going to see if I can find something small that I can kind of sculpt into. But before I do that, let me show you the pieces. Okay, so I'm dropping stuff everywhere. So for those of you that don't know, you can make molds out of hot glue. And I actually recorded myself doing it, but when I saw the result, I don't want to give people wrong information, and I don't want people to kind of mess up what they're doing. So I don't want to put out a video where I have to come back and correct. So I didn't put the video up. I still have it on my desktop, but I didn't put the video up because what I'm trying to do is maybe a compilation of how to do it with hot glue and what my thoughts are about it. But I also want to show you how to do it with silicone, which is gonna be the next thing that I do. So these molds that I made them with hot glue. And pretty much all you do is you lay the piece down and then you just put the hot glue over it. You cover the whole surface. As you can see, it takes quite an amount of glue. And then you'll end up with an impression when it dries. And it dries within a few minutes. And then it's a flexible piece that you can pop the things out. Now, my issue with this is that it's not deep enough. For these kinds of clay, you need to have something that's a little bit deeper so that you have a thicker base altogether. So this is the little piece that came out of it, and it kind of broke right here. But if you guys can hear that, it's very hard. It's very hard. And it broke because of the way I popped it up. So I actually broke that by not holding the mold itself right when I went to go pop it up. And this actually fits in there. This one came out of this one here. And I mean, it's not the greatest looking one, but it's the first one that I did right off the gate. Now, this mold compared to the other ones was actually the best one that came out. I tried this one. This is off of filigree. The filigree one didn't work. So this was plastic. I used the plastic piece to mold on this one. This is another plastic piece, but this is like one of those little jewel pieces. And I didn't really like the way that this one came out either. This is a bird. Like a little mirrored bird that I had that I used to kind of encapsulate it. But again, it's very, very thin. It's like a millimeter in there, and it's just too small. I need a higher wall around it. I need a higher edge around it for it to actually dry properly and so that I can pop it out nicely. But I was just trying stuff. Hey, Tanya. Hello, Kelly. How are you ladies doing? And the looks is not so much the thing. Like, they came, look-wise, I think they came out good. But when it came out to, like, actually putting the clay in there, like, this one's really thin. And it comes out like flakes. Like, it's just really, really thin. Now, this is a piece of the bird. This is another one that broke because, again, it's so thin. And I don't know if you guys can see how it started to warp. The shape started to kind of warp off. That's not what you want, unless it's something that you want. If it's not intentional, then you're not going to be happy with the result. See, like, this is the flower. And the flower came out okay, I guess. I'm not going to lie. The flower came out okay. So, out of all of the pieces, the flower came out okay. It's not too bad. But I think that the molds that I'm going to make next are going to be the kind of molds that you want. Which are going to be the ones that I'm going to make out of silicone. Because the hot glue is just... I just think I have to come up maybe with a better system. I think if I would have, instead of letting it free flow, I think if I would have put it, let's say, in a container, like if I would have put the piece in the container and then just poured the hot glue over it and actually made a certain shape of a mold, I think I would have had a better result with how the molds themselves came out. But I just kind of plopped them down and then just started pouring it over. And I think that's the reason why my molds didn't come out exactly how I wanted them to. But, you know, we'll keep trying. And then this is like a little capuchin of one of those little faces. And I don't like how this one came out either because it got stuck to the plastic. So some of the elements in it, like her hair and her facial features, didn't come out too well because it actually got stuck to the plastic. And when I went to pull it off, it didn't want to let me pop it out. And it actually messed up the texture. So like her eyes are like somewhere in Timbuktu and her hair is a hot mess. So I just left it alone. It's this piece right here, which you can hardly see the detail on it. It's very hard to see the detail on it. But I'm going to keep trying, figuring out which is the best way to create these molds at an affordable way, so that we can start making our own, you know, little frames and just our own little things that we can use, you know, on our art overall. So let me just get some of this. And this stuff cleans right up too, guys. It cleans right up with water. You just soak it in water or you can scrape it off most of the time. And it'll come right off. So it's not too bad. Let me get some of this dry little bits off my little working surface here. So I don't want these in my way. But I mean, at the end of the day, I just love this clay overall. And even if I couldn't make molds, let's say, the way I want to, then I would still make it to play with it because I can always make like little, you know, I could always make like little vines or little trees. I love making trees out of this. They come out so pretty. So let's see here. I'm going to try to make this shoe. So I'm just going to kind of grab it and just kind of mold it into the shape that this is in. And then anything that comes off of it, I'll just cut it out. I'll just cut off the excess. Again, I want to keep some level of thickness. Why is my phone going on? Yeah, I just got a comment from Brandy. My phone went off. So let's see. So we got the little shoe here, little acrylic block. And I'm just going to kind of press that in just a little bit so that I can cut off some of that excess off. I'm going to add a little bit of Vaseline on this so that it doesn't stick to my surface. And Vaseline is the saver here. Like Vaseline will really save your project all the way through and through. And again, I'm just going to cut the excess off. And I'm using a blade that's really not a tool for this, but it'll have to do for now. And then I'll show you guys how to kind of freeform it. Maybe this is too small for this, but I'm going to continue just to see what happens. Now I'm going to kind of smooth out some of these edges. If you don't have tools, you don't need tools. Your finger sometimes is the best tool that you have. So don't be worried about, oh, I can't do this or I can't play with this because I don't have tools. If you have pencils, if you have cards, like credit cards, library cards, whatever you have that's hard and plastic, you have the tools you need right there. And I'm just smoothing it out as I go. So literally, like, don't talk yourself out of it because you feel like you don't have what you need. If you can make the recipe work, then you're good to go. And I don't know why it needs, I keep curling this, I keep curling that dang heel. If you don't have, like lemon juice, or you can always use vinegar. It just needs some kind of acidity. Like, I don't know why it needs it, but every recipe that I've seen so far uses it. I haven't tried to make it without it, so I don't know, if that's like a fact. But I keep hearing myself. It's very annoying. I keep stopping to, I feel like I'm having a conversation with somebody and I'm hearing myself and I won't talk. We're making cold porcelain, and I'm kind of showing you guys like how you could go about coloring it. And now I'm trying to get this thing off of here. Showing you how to go about coloring it. And now I'm just trying to get this dang shoe off of here. I'm just going to let it dry right on there, because I could always plop it off later. So I'm just going to let it dry right on there. I'm just going to make sure that it's off the edges, so when I go take it off, it won't give me a problem. But that'll work. That'll work, and I'll smooth that out as I go. And you could always use, like, once your pieces are dry, you can use a nail filer. You can use, like a nail buffer to kind of smooth out some of those bumps and those edges. Just be careful when you hold your piece, if it's a fragile piece, not to put too much pressure on what you're doing. But you can gently kind of file away some of those little rough edges that you're going to get. It's almost like when you mold plastic or melt plastic, you're going to get those little rough plastic edges. You can just kind of sand those right down. It's not really that big of a deal. It's very easy to do, as long as you're gentle. So I'm going to try to freehand some stuff, you guys. And I do have some other pieces there, but I do want to play. And let's see. I have a vision in my head of a mermaid's tail, like I was saying at the beginning. And I'm going to actually try to do it live. Let's see if I can do this. I want to make a fish's tail. I mold them myself. I made a little teapot. Very tiny little teapot. I don't know if you guys can see that, but let's see. I get my little black piece of paper here. I made the world's tiniest little teapot. And Tanya, that's the wiring that you sent me. I used that wiring to kind of make the little charm loop for it. So I made my very first charm, and it's a little teapot, short and stout. And I made this rose that is still drying. I don't know if you guys can see that well, because it's white on white. And I'm letting that dry. And I made this flower. I made these before I went live, just playing with the clay and just trying different things. So I'm going to try to make this mermaid, you guys. And I'm going to use, I'm going to try. So I want to see how this is going to work out, because this is like a prototype. So I figure I might as well get this idea out of my head, and then I'll work out any kinks that I have in it while I'm here with you guys. And then when I go make one, I'm going to paint it, but right now it's still drying, because I made it like 2 hours ago, maybe like 2.5, 3 hours ago at this point. So it's still drying. This clay does require for you to kind of leave it drying overnight. So to paint them, I would say that they will be ready for paint tomorrow. I wouldn't go painting them right away. But what I did is, like, I showed you guys how to mix the colors yourself. So if you don't want to paint them after, then you can go ahead and add the color to your clay beforehand. And this is gonna be all contaminated because I got red all over my hands, but that's fine. So yeah, I'm hoping to be able to make all kinds of like little charms and stuff like that, so that I can start making, my own charms, like my own little dangling charms to give away and so on and so forth. So I'm just gonna kind of get this going. And I'm thinking I'm gonna add a little bit of color to this, but what I'm gonna add is I'm gonna add some metallic paint to it. I want to see how that works out. So I'm going to add some of this festive green. Because to me, mermaid's tails, for the most part, for some reason, I always think of a green tail. I don't know why. Yes, Beauty and the Beast. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm not going to do it the whole thing. Maybe I have to because this doesn't seem like a lot. But okay, I'm going to do the whole thing. I've convinced myself. So I'm going to add some of this green. And this is their Dazzling Metallics. And it's festive green. And I'm just going to fold that in. Because again, to me, mermaid's tails just seem to be green. I don't know why. So yes, and that's my goal, Brandy, to make those kinds of things. But beyond that being my goal is to save $1 in the process and not buy those expensive, molds and so on and so forth. So I'm gonna try to make molds as much as I can with whatever I can. Like I bought a little doll, and I'm gonna shave all her hair off. I'm gonna cut all her hair off. Yes. You hear the echo as well. So let me hold on. Give me 1 second. Let me just mute this. Is that better? I muted it, so hopefully you guys won't hear it. Very sticky, very sticky. Just grab some Vaseline so that it doesn't stick to your hands so much. I'm pretty sure you could. If you do bake it, just bake it quickly. If you're gonna put it in the oven, bake it quickly. Like maybe it would take one of those baked pieces like a good maybe 10-15 minutes. I would say put it in the oven maybe for like 5 minutes and see how it is, depending on the size of the piece. And do a test run, like do a few of them, test batch and try it and see what's the perfect setting. I would put it on a very low setting in the oven. I wouldn't put it, I would say maybe like 150, 175 around there, 200 tops. And try it and see how, how your pieces come out. If they warp, if they crack, what happens. I've never tried it. Hi, Linda. So I wouldn't say that, to go ahead and make like a large batch and put it in there. But maybe something small to try, just so that you can see where you're at. That might not be a bad idea. I'm just getting some of this paint off of my fingers, you guys. Give me 1 second. Yeah, I got most of it off anyway. I don't want to wet my hands with water, so I'm just trying to rub it off as much as I can because it's not, I don't want to get water on the clay because it doesn't require any water to make it, so I try not to add water whenever I can, you know, not do it. The only time you should be adding water to your clay is if your clay is really, really rough and you need to leave it in water overnight. Well, not leave it in water, but add a few drops of water to it overnight. So let's see. So I got it a little bit green. At least this will help you guys to see it a little bit better. And most of the shimmer is gone, but I do still see some shimmer in there. So let's see what we do here. Now, cold porcelain, when it's not done properly, can crack as it dries. So you have to be very careful. Like I said, you know, it's an easy recipe and everything, but you just have to be very, very careful how you make it. I'm just gonna kind of loop my hands up a little bit, and I'm gonna try to smooth this out while my hands are nice and greasy so that it kind of just flows through this. And to be honest with you, I'm actually gonna, this is cardboard, and I'm just gonna add some Vaseline to this just to be safe. Just to be safe, because I don't want it, now it slides, which I feel a lot more comfortable about. Oh boy. Hold on one second, you guys. Okay. Just getting rid of an intruder here. Either way, Brandy, like it'll still, you know, it depends on what you put into it. That's what you're gonna get out of it. And I think clay is good, but clay gets very brittle. Now I don't know how wide I want this. It's picking up all the little pieces from before, from the other thing that I was doing. You can do it, Brandy. It takes a few minutes only. And you can try it. You might surprise yourself. You might try to tell me with clay. That's what happens when you reach 1,000. I don't know if I could cook the clay. You could do it. You can do it. You can do it. I am sure that you can try. And you will have lots of fun and you will be so surprised. So now, I gotta create some texture on this thing. So I gotta figure out what I'm gonna do. What I'm gonna use. I'm thinking of a pen. A 101 uses for a straw. Sorry about that. Let me put this volume down so that I can keep doing what I'm doing. Let's see. Now she's gonna be stuck. This little mermaid's gonna be stuck somewhere. So I'm gonna try to do her tail in a way that it kind of overlays a little bit over half of what this is going on over here, half of the bottom of the tail. But we'll see what happens. This is just me adding some kind of texture to it because I don't know what else to do to add texture to it. So I'm just doing it with the end of a straw, and I'm just lightly tapping into it. If you want to get super technical with it, then, you know, that's up to you. How you want to add your texture. There's 101 different ways you can do it. For me, I'm going to do it this way. I just think it's easier. Now, I know something like this would definitely need its time to kind of, you know, to kind of be there, to dry. It's a pretty thick, it measures at least a few millimeters, I'm sure. I would say it's about 5 millimeters thick, 5 centimeters thick, I should say. So it's gonna need some time to dry. Now you can do your tail and your body separate from each other and then glue them on. Brandy, make it. Just try it. Carmen got patience. I do. You have to sometimes for certain things. Why not use the little tool over there to score the texture? Because that'll create holes in it. And I don't necessarily want holes in it, Tammy. I just want the appearance of some kind of scaling going on. But I don't necessarily want holes in it. At least not for this particular part. I'm probably going to use that tool more to sculpt out the tail end. To thin that out somewhat in certain areas. And I'm just gonna lightly tap it. You hear me now? I'm gonna just tap over it in certain areas again, just to add even more texture to it, so that there's no necessarily set pattern to her tail or how her little design things are going. We just got a whole bunch of little rivets everywhere. But to kind of break up those little singular, those little round little shapes, so that it doesn't look so round, it just kind of looks more scaly. And I'm going to bring that up so that hopefully you guys can see what I did. Let me move some of these things out of the way. Here's the other piece of that cardboard. So you could already kind of hear how they're already starting to click and clank. They do get very hard rather quickly. This is just, I don't know what that is. So, oh, I almost messed it up, my little teapot. Can't do that. So I'm just going to bring this up so that you guys can see some of that texture on that. Just from kind of tapping it out. And all that shine is just from my hands having Vaseline and me putting Vaseline on the surface. Now I'm actually going to let this dry on here. So I'm just going to move this in a different direction here so that I can start working on that tail. I'm going to work on that tail on this end, and then this whole piece is just going to get put to the side so that it can dry. And hopefully tomorrow or Monday at the latest, depending on how long it needs to all the way dry, I'll be able to show you guys like a completed fish tail with, you know, fins and everything. Hopefully. And I'm obviously, once it's dry, I'm going to paint it and I'm going to make it look nice. And we'll see how this kind of goes. And I'm just smoothing this out, just making sure that my curve lines, you know, they're just nice curved lines. They're not like ridiculously bumpy or wavy. This girl don't got much of a butt on her, but it's okay because we're showing her from the front more or less. So now I'm gonna grab some more clay. I'm gonna use this one that I have here. This is from the other batch that I made a couple days ago. Let me put this cutting tool here because I don't want to accidentally hurt myself. And safety first, you guys. Safety first. Especially when you're working with knives. And I have some needles here, which I'm going to need. I'm going to leave it like that. For her bust, if you're creating a top, you can use 2 little seashells. Yes. If I end up doing the top, because I'm not that good at making the body. So I don't know. Maybe I'll make half of it. And give her like a little belly button and make it look like she's trying to climb out of the net or something like that. I don't know. Today, we went to El Portillo and the waiter called my little roommate a tornado. He was wrong. He's a tsunami. Brandy, you too much. I have to go for the night. I'll catch the rest later. Bye, everyone. Bye, Debbie. Thank you for joining as usual. So I am just kind of, again, working this dough. Working this clay. Sometimes it works out better when you create your pieces, you know, freehand than when you mold them. But then again, it always depends on what you're trying to do. I want the mold of a baby. I don't know why. Well, I know why. Let me not say that. I know why. Because of the fairy jar. I want to make the baby molds out of the cold porcelain and add the little hair in it and add the little wings on it and put them in the jar. I want to do that so bad. So I gotta buy myself a little baby mold, because I know I can't make no little baby. It will probably take me a long time to get that going. Thank you, Kelly. So let's see here. So I'm gonna start off with maybe this much. And this has to be, this is gonna be somewhat thinner. And I'm gonna use gold on her tail. I think that's where I'm gonna use some gold on her tail. And then I'll use the blue to accent some of the deeper sections. Once it's all dry, I'll end up probably adding some of the blue in, because I do like the blue and the green color combination. So chances are that that is gonna be the motif. That is gonna be the color scheme that I'm gonna use for the most part. I love doing the projects that require a lot of concentration. We're needing a little bit of Vaseline here. And it didn't change the color too much, but it did add a little bit of that gold tone to it. At the end of the day, I am going to be painting over this anyway. So I'm not really too concerned with how concentrated of a color this is giving me right now. I just wanted it to show well on camera so that you guys can at least see a little bit of what I'm doing. So let's see here. So we have... I'm just going to butter my surface by adding some Vaseline to it, so that again I can kind of glide my hands through everything that I'm doing. And right now I'm just kind of trying to thin it out to a certain degree. I want it thin, but I don't want it too thin, but I do want it somewhat thin. And then I'm just going to start to kind of mold it out with my hands. See, that's a little too thin right there. I'm probably going to need more of this. The tail was easy. This is the hardest part, I think, is making this part here. I thinned it out too much, so time to start over. Let me get some more. Now, I don't know if you could air dry polymer clay. I'll have to find out, because if you can air dry the polymer clay, then I could probably be able to mix and match some of these clays together. But I don't know if you can air dry polymer clay. I think polymer clay is a baking kind of clay. Okay, I just wanted to mix these together because I need it to be a little thicker than what I was making it. I needed more clay. So let's see here. Dang, little hairs just stuck to my finger. Stubborn little bugger. Carmen, when does your challenge end? June the 5th. But I'll extend it if you guys need more time. Who is the atomic glitter bomb? Who was hacked? Hi, Sherry. Atomic glitter bomb was hacked. Do you know by who? Boy, was my chat all the way up there. Yes, it does. It's okay. You're right on time, Sherry. No worries. Ah, abstract. Yes. Your little hacker has been a pain in our butt, let me tell you. Tries to get in our feed. I pretty much blocked your account, unfortunately. I had to block your account. I didn't know it was you till after. I even made a video about it. I was so upset because this person, whoever it is that hacked your account, was just kind of going into my videos, just leaving rude comments to the people that were commenting, and I had to block them before people even saw them. I know some people saw them, but so it's crazy. So you go by Atomic Glitter Bomb, huh? That's an interesting name. I'm just kind of trying to stretch this out, but I don't want to do it so that it kind of looks crazy. Even though crazy is like my middle name, but I don't want it to look too crazy. So I'm just buttering up my fingers here. It's okay. Thank God they have that blocking thing. I mean, like I said, I didn't even know it was you. I mean, not that it was you, but I didn't know it was from your account until somebody told me that it was from your account because they recognized the playlist. I didn't even know until they said something. I'm going to kind of rip this off so that it thins out. I'm just trying to see what I come up with this thing, guys, because I have no idea right now what I'm doing. So I'm trying to give this thing some kind of a fin-like texture. I'm just happy you're okay. I was wondering, I was like, oh my God, what happened to this girl? Especially when I found out, you know, what was going on, that it was coming from your thing. I was like, uh-oh, I hope she's okay. I mean, that was my biggest concern. But I am glad that you are alive and well, darling. Trying to make this tail, you guys, this is not easy. This was 100 times easier than doing this part. Boy, is that one long ass tail. Excuse me, I did not curse. I meant bum. That's one long bum tail. Good. That is good. That is good news. That's a little bit better. Ah. No, why I always do this? I always mess up my... No. Dang nails. Okay, I don't need all this. Need a glass of wine. Make that too. Randy, I want some. Just a little glass. I'll only drink wine maybe once every 2 years. I'll make an exception. Is my tail making ability stressing you out? She's like, she's butchering that mermaid's tail. I can't take it. Because you know Brandy loves herself some mermaids. Let's see. I need to cut this up. And I don't want to use that blade because it's not working the way I want it to work. It's all gonky. I'm going to try it. The little human's driving her body. Yes. Like Sebastian under the sea. Under the sea. Let's see. I like mermaids because part of me hopes that they're real. And they're friendly and they don't eat people. And I really do hope that they could make musical instruments out of seashells. Boy, is this not the easiest thing to do in life, huh? God bless the sculptors. Yes, I love Percy Jackson. Although I thought they could have made it a little bit better, but Percy Jackson was very good. Now I'm gonna lift this up and kind of I'm trying to see. Just adding little lines to it, just to give it some kind of texture. Something like that. I'm not the master builder over here. I just try. So you guys can hopefully see what I'm trying to do here. Trying to create some kind of movement in her tail. Hopefully something that looks somewhat realistic. But this is just to kind of demonstrate the versatility of this kind of clay. Yes, please. Hercules, Hercules. This is just to kind of demonstrate the versatility of this clay. I mean, you can go super thin and still be able to manage and make it, and it'll still hold its shape. I mean, you got to give it to it. The clay is literally phenomenal. And now what I'm going to do is I'm just going to pinch, just kind of pinch some of this to the actual tail itself. But knowing me, I'm going to bling this out anyway. And I'm going to go back into it with the straw just to give it some texture. Thank you, thank you. Do you know I loves you guys? You're my favorite people in the whole world. So I'm just going to add some texture going down from here to make it kind of look like this is, you know, part of the tail. Because if she's trapped in a net, then her tail should be all crimpled up. I'm just saying. But not too bad. Not too bad for being freehand. Not too bad. Now when I go paint this, then hopefully it'll all come together. Now I will leave this just like this so that it can dry. And I'll leave this there for a while. Overnight, maybe a couple extras after that, just to make sure that it is completely and thoroughly dry so that when I go to paint it and just add, you know, all the other colors and everything to it, it really, really pops. And this is actually going to be a project that I'm going to be working on. It's going to be somewhat more of a collaboration. I like to call it a labor of love, you know, one of those passion projects. And you guys are going to see more of this piece as I go forward, because it's going to be done somewhat little by little, which was another reason why I really wanted to make this clay, and kind of, you know, work with it and just get my hands into doing it again, because it has been quite some time since I've molded, you know, done this kind of stuff. So I was a little rusty, but hopefully you guys like it and you will give it a try. I would love to see what you guys make. Let's see. Yeah, it'll be up. Thank you, Sherry. I love you too. With the top, I don't know. So you know what? I'm going to start working on it now, because I do have clay and I have time. What time is it now? I haven't even been on for 2 hours. So I'm going to go ahead and try making the body part. Fingers crossed. Like, this is the one area when it comes to sculpting that I am not the greatest at, because I've never really put that much energy into it. And to me, it's like, if it's almost like drawing. When I try to draw people, I'm very good at drawing faces and eyes and all of that stuff. But when it comes to the arms and the hands, that's like my pet peeve right there. I can't draw arms and hands to save my life. Usually they're like very badly proportionate, and you know, it'll be short from the elbow to the ankle, from the elbow to the ankle. You guys hear me? And that's probably why, because I'm drawing elbows and ankles on an arm, and this is probably why I'm messing it up to begin with. But from the elbow to the wrist, it's usually shorter than from the elbow to the shoulder, and or vice versa. It's very wonky and very uneven. But I'm gonna put this to the side for now, and I'm gonna get my other board, because I just don't want to knock into this and mess up the shape that I've got going. But so far it's coming. I mean, I'm falling in love with it already. So fingers crossed everything will dry well, and then I'll be able to add some glitters and all of this other extra good stuff and get it going nice. But for now, I'm gonna put it to the side and let that dry off. And I have a little box here. Excuse me and bless me. Lord, let it rain down, let it rain down, let it rain. Clear it out. No, don't clear it out. Let the blessings come and stay. Let them come and stay. Because we need them. I needs them, they needs it, we all need the blessings. So I got my other little piece of cardboard here. And this is the problem with me. I save everything. Thank you, Sandra. So I'm gonna work on the top now. And I don't beat myself up too much. I just don't do it. That way I don't have to stress myself out. But I'm gonna try. I'm gonna try, because we can never advance anywhere if we don't try. So we have to try. In order to get from point A to point B, we have to take that step. And that step usually needs another step to follow. And little by little, before you know, you'll be right where you need to be. Church is within you. Church is within you. So let's see. Let's try this, and again, adding some Vaseline to my surface. And I'm working on cardboard. So you don't have to get fancy, you guys. As long as you prep your surface, you should be fine. And then when this dries, because I done oiled it all up, it should work well, hopefully. Thank you, Patricia. Bless you. So let's see. Let's see. Before I even do that, I need to see how wide I gotta make this bodice over here. So, hopefully that'll help me keep her in proportion. I've always liked sculpting since I was little. Playing with clay was one of my favorite things. I might be aging myself, but back in the 80s or something like that, I don't even remember. It was either the 80s or the 90s, the early 90s. They came out with this barber set that it was with the clay, and you would put the clay underneath the little thing, and then you would sit her on the chair, and then all the hair would come out. It wasn't easy. I mean, yeah, it wasn't really easy. I practiced a lot. I practiced a lot. I always like to draw, but just because you like to do something doesn't necessarily mean that you're good at it. But I've never really considered myself to be good at it per se. I know that I'm okay because I can recognize what I'm drawing. So, but other than that, like it took me a really long time and just doing it over and over and over again. And especially when it came to the face, like I literally drew part by part over and over and over and over and over again until I can get it at least halfway decent. Because I'm not expecting perfection, but at least let it be a little decent. I want to be able to recognize that what it is that I'm drawing to a certain extent. So I just kind of broke it down, and I just took, I did eyes one day and just did eyes and did eyes and did eyes, and then I would do the nose and then the lips and then the shapes of the faces. But then I found my stencil, and I'm like, you know what? To heck with all this practicing. Let me just trace around it, and that's it. Make my life easy. So you remember, well, yeah, it was by Play-Doh. And you used to sit the little thing on the little barber chair. And you could cut the hair and mold the hair and build the hair. I love playing with those things. I wasn't so much of a Barbie girl. I was more of a, give me something to color, give me something to build. I love building things. So I'd rather have Legos than have a Barbie any day. I think this is a little thick. This is a little thick for what I need here. Way thick. Way thick. And way wide. So I gotta get some tools for this stuff. Or at least start sacrificing some knives or something. Where's my knife set? That was fun. That's what I call the good old days. I'm gonna bug out if today, for like the first time, like my body comes out okay. I'm gonna flip out. For real. I've been trying to do this forever. And I'm looking at this arm. I'm like, okay, that arm looks like it's in proportion. Like, what the heck is happening here? But it might be in proportion to the body. So I'm still not out the woods yet. I'm just kind of flattening this down because it was a little thick. For what I needed it. For how I needed it to be. Something bound to get messed up over here because things are they're just flowing too smoothly today. I don't think this ever happens to me. There's always something. I gotta see if this fits on my shark tail. My shark tail. You hear me? On my mermaid. She's a little tall, a little long. I guess I'm gonna have to work off of this for now because I gotta build it in proportion to this tail. Like, I don't think I'm gonna build the whole body, you guys. I think I'm just gonna leave it somewhere at a halfway point and have it kind of sticking out. Just not feeling all that 100% confident. Plastic forks and spoons, Dollar Tree. Are you making a mermaid? Oh, she's going to be cute. I'm trying to make a mermaid. I am trying to make a mermaid. Let's see how these arms. See, too short. She's got swollen joints, you guys. Which kind of clay? Regular clay or this kind of clay? Clay dough I made with my kids and when we was little, they didn't have molds. We made things by hand. You put Kool-Aid to do what, Crafty Girl? To color it? Should I give her boobs? She deserves some boobs, right? This is the batch I made today in the video. I haven't even tried this batch yet. Really, Patricia? That's odd. I can scroll the chat now. I just did. Move it down. Does anybody else have issues? This is the clay that I made today. Super easy, as you can tell. Fresh batch. She needs boobs. A, B's, or C's? Or seashells by the seashore. Some seashells by the seashores. F's. Triple D's. You guys are bad. You guys are bad, bad, bad. I don't even know how those will begin to fit on this little frame. I don't know how Dolly Parton does it. She needs smaller ones. She not built like that. I know, I'm squashing them. I'm gonna try to cup them so I can fit them in. Hopefully that'll work. Like I said, you guys, my proportions suck. Every time I pass my... I'm going to clip all these nails off. I can't handle it. I can't deal. I don't know. I think I would have just been better off with the tail. She's like, help! Help! I lost the arm. Help somebody. Get me out of here. Carmi does not know what the heck she's doing. I'm giving her freaking Popeye arms over here. They're all over the place. I can't. This is driving me crazy. Don't touch them. One boob down, one to go. I can't, you guys. It's too much for me. We gotta laugh a little, you know, enjoy life. We gotta enjoy life as much as we can. Alright, so let's see if this will work. Cyclops boobs, Mermaid. You damn right. I try to tell you guys that wasn't good for the upper body parts. I tried to warn you. It was a seashell when it started. Now it's like a blob. Oh, I can't. I can't. This is too much, you guys. You killing me with all of this stuff. This girl went from having a B-sized boob to having an H and an I. Like, I don't understand what happened here. At least something came out okay. And I don't want to mess it up with this. I'm going to take this off. I didn't do all that work on that tail to come and give her this discombobulated body. Every human body part has one bigger than the other unless you get them done. I know. And the problem is I didn't get them done and I'm still doing one bigger than the other. That might be better. She about to have no arms. She about to have nothing up in here. Messing me up with all of this extra stuff. The problem is I can't add the seashells now. I have to wait till it's dry because I have to glue them on. Let's see. That's right. Every day you all make my day. That's why I look forward to the next chat. Aw, that's so sweet. Ah, genius. You see? This is why I mess with you guys because you guys know. You know what you're talking about, man. Just trying to create that little image, that little illusion of a spine here. Now let's work on some hair. That girl needs boobs. I'm trying. I want to have her like she's trying to reach out. So I'm imagining that her arms are out. And she's like, oh, help me. Off to the side. Nice, Erica. Well, I made in a video earlier, I made some cold porcelain clay. And we've pretty much made a rose out of it. Some little, tips and FYIs. And what I'm making now is a mermaid out of the sculpted clay. Let's see. So I created just that little illusion of a spine. Let me just kind of fold this over. And now I'm going to get the easiest idea, which is to give her hair. So I'm going to create some hair that's going to kind of come off. And just kind of come off to the side here somehow. Hopefully in some kind of a style that makes sense. And I just kind of made her a little spine on her back. So that at least she looks partly human. And that's it. No, you didn't. Thank you. I'm trying. It comes out every now and then. But you know how they say lightning only strikes once. And it never strikes twice in the same place. So I take advantage. So let's see how I'm going to do this. I think if I kind of roll like strands, that'll probably be my best bet. Hi, Deb. It's okay. Better late than never. I should have gave her a bigger booty if I knew she was going to be from the back. At least some perky little happenings or something. Free the tatas. You crazy as heck, girl. The jibber jabbers. I'm just making a whole bunch of strands. She's gonna have dreadlocks because I doubt that they have like gel in the ocean. Or mousse for that matter. And they might have a comb, but really, how good of a comb is it? So I picture my mermaid with some kind of dreadlocks. Beautiful dreadlocks. Okay, stay in your designated spot. Hello. Oh, really, Liz? You are one extravagant pony. slash mermaid. Probably, which is why I'm trying so hard to make it that way. I'm trying so hard to make him as perfect as possible. Now I'm going to start trying to form some of this hair here. And I probably should have colored it, but I didn't, so oh well. And I'm going to just pull them off. And this is going to seem kind of weird because her hair is coming from like nowhere. She's got no head. She's got like no head at all. My nails are filthy in this thing. Oh my. All this paint inside my nails. Word. You ain't lying about that. No pimples, no wrinkles, no imperfections. I should have at least given her a neck. She got hairs that come up from nowhere. Thank you. Not bad for some dreadlocks. I love how it looks. And then I just kind of pull it off as it gets to the end. And it's all about building those layers. Thank you, Sherry. Oh, I will, girl, but I gotta let it dry. I gotta let it dry before I do any painting or any additional stuff to it. I should be able to paint her in by tomorrow. And trust me, I believe I'm gonna add metallics, glitters, everything under the sun You name it, I'm adding it. You have to wait. You have to wait, Erica, for it to dry. Because it's soft. The clay itself is really soft, and in you trying to brush it in and adding paint strokes, you can actually mess up your shapes. You can mess up the shape that that you got, any texture that you've built up. You can mess up a lot of details by painting it prematurely. So you want it to dry and be, turn into the porcelain aspect of it, and then you can paint it and you can glaze it, and you can do whatever you want to do to it at that point in time. So yes, I'll definitely be doing a video reveal. Or I'll probably do the process. I might not speak to it, but you guys will see me doing what I gotta do. It's just hard for me to do the speaking videos because my family is very active. And I'm blessed that they give me this time to, come on here and do this with you guys. Because otherwise, my it's like a buzzing city over here. It's like the subway station. Everybody's always got something to say, something to do, running this way, running that way. Always knocking on mommy's door. Mommy this and mommy that and daddy this and daddy that. And it's just a lot of noise and chaos. Yes, they are, darling. I cannot wait to add some of those metallics. I'm just trying to cover up this shoulder here, and I'm trying to cover up most of the top part of what would be like her shoulder area with some of this hair. And I'm going to try to see if I find little tiny something, and if I don't find it, I'm probably going to make like little tiny beads. Or little tiny something that I can add to her hair. Like she's been collecting things in the bottom of the ocean and adding them to her hair. So I'm gonna see how that works out, because it's an idea now. I'll have to see if I can make it come to life. We'll see. It's, my plans don't always come out the way I want them. So right now I'm just going to put it on my wish list and see if it comes, if I can make it happen. Now I'm trying to start to add some waves to that. That wouldn't be a bad idea. What do you guys think about me doing the part 2 on Wednesday? On my live. I mean, I'm supposed to be doing paper crafting and stuff, but I don't know if I could wait. I don't know if I could wait till Saturday to paint it on the live stream. That might be too much for me to handle. I'll be honest with you. I'll be looking at this paint and I'll be looking at this thing and I don't know. Yes. And they tell me, let me tell you, they voice their opinions. We are a very outspoken kind of family. I've always taught my kids not to hold in what they feel. That turns into poison. Speak your mind. I can handle it. And I think we are almost done with this, you guys. And then we'll be letting her dry because I don't want to fiddle with her too much. And I guess if you guys will leave me a vote on the video, I'm good. Once I'm done with this video, just let me know if you guys want to see me finish this by next Wednesday. I was going to do the shaker cards, but if you guys want to see me do this next Wednesday, I'll be more than happy to finish it up on the next Wednesday live and hopefully get the cards in, because all I'll be doing mostly is painting, but you guys know how I get carried away. And then I'll just watch her and drool all the way to the end. And then I can fix her up, and who knows? Who knows where this will all lead. I hope you guys can see, because I notice that sometimes I go out of frame. Yeah, I always tell my kids, be honest with everybody else, but more so, be honest with yourself. And don't ever lie to yourself. You'll never have to lie to others. You don't get nowhere that way. And you end up spinning in circles. That's a lot of wasted valuable time, let me tell you. Time you never get back. Just kind of making sure that they're sticking to each other, but they still have some of that dimension. They're not... You should. I would love to see what you come out with, girl, because you're super talented. And I be loving your color schemes. Love it, love it, love it. And literally, I mean, if you see the video, it does not take that long to cook it, and you can pretty much start using it right away. Once it cools down, which it'll cool down in a little bit, you can start using the clay right away. You don't have to let the clay sit till tomorrow to use it. You can use it right away. So it's making it, using it, and having fun super quick. So I am thinking she's about it. She's about done, I should say, not about it, but she's about done. Just gonna wrap that in. On the next one, maybe I can make a octopus or something to go with it. Maybe the octopus is trying to save her by pulling the net off of her. So maybe I can draw like mold some tentacles or something and have it as part of the scene with the mermaid and the octopus on one side and the netting and all of the other crazy stuff. What do you guys think? Yeah, it's up already. I put it up kind of early today because I wanted you guys to have the chance, if you wanted to make it, in case you wanted to play along as I played along. But I think I'm kind of done, you guys, at least for today's session. And I'm going to show you. And I'm probably going to add a few more strands of hair over here. So I might as well just do it while you guys are here. But once I add these little few strands of hair, I think I'm pretty much done. And I've used up all the other batches and I still have the whole fresh batch that I made. And I'm just going to pinch it off. So just to kind of show you, you see how that kind of looks? Like it's very soft, but at the same time it doesn't stick to your fingers. See how I don't have any on my fingers? You could roll it up rather easy. You could blend it back in with the rest. Super easy. That's kind of like how you want it to be. And it's not that hard to get it there. It really isn't. Just the biggest thing of all is when you add in your cornstarch, add it a little bit at a time. You could always add more once it's cooked. Like you don't have to pour all the cornstarch in there. Don't be scared to just add a little bit and then take it off the stove once it's all cooked up. You know, once it all boils into a ball. Like you'll see in the video. You know, don't be scared to take it off the stove if you have to. And add more, you know, after the fact. That's okay. I know her hair is two different colors, but I'm going to be coloring her hair anyway. My biggest thing is the small of her back. I really want that to be pronounced. So I think that's about it. I think that's about it, you guys. So you see how it still held her shape? The same shape that I gave it is the same shape that the tail still has. I love that. And that will air dry just like that. It's already starting to change color, which it will change a little bit of color on you. Once it's cooked, you know, it'll get a little bit more like a beigey kind of color, a little bit darker than a beigey kind of color. And her hair is toned right now, but I will be fixing that as I go. And I'm probably gonna add some more hair to her, so you'll see how it'll look at the end, probably by next Wednesday. But you guys more or less see what it is that I'm doing by just, you know, spinning them and turning them into like these little strands and just kind of sticking them on there. I'm not too super happy with how this little piece right here ended up, so I'm probably gonna add some more hair to kind of curl and wave around. But overall, I think we did a pretty good job today, you guys. So I do hope that you guys try it. I would love to see what you guys make. And as I move forward and I get a little bit better and more prepared to do these kinds of things, then I'll have other videos where I'll show you guys how to make charms and just how to do different things. And as I learn, you learn. So thank you guys so much. I'm going to go wrap up my dough before it gets too dry. Or before it starts to dry, I should say, because it's not even nowhere near dry yet. And I'm going to go wash my hands because I'm a greasy, greasy mess. And clean up my table. Thank you guys so much once again for joining me on another Let's Create Live. And I guess I'm going to finish this off on Wednesday because you guys want it. So it's going to be very hard for me, but I will wait. I will wait. And we'll finish off the rest of the piece. I think the next week we're going to do, I'm going to add an octopus to this. And just start getting some of the pieces that are going to go into the final canvas. Even if I don't create the canvas itself on Wednesday, I'll at least start making some of the pieces that will go on the final canvas. And then I guess on one of the live streams we'll do the whole, we'll put everything together and just get the whole thing done. So thank you guys once again for stopping by. Yes, I have, Sherry. I've used them with molds. What you have to do is, if you have the molds, the first thing that you want to do is you want to put some Vaseline. Just rub some Vaseline or get some baby oil and just rub it into the inside of your mold. Then grab your cold porcelain, you know, push it into place just like you would any other clay. And push it to the side and let it dry. Once it's completely dry, then you'll pull it out and you'll have a perfect piece. And it'll come out very easy. So thank you, Tammy, Sherry, Brandy, Liz, Sandra, Patricia, Crafty Girl, everybody that came through. Happy Mother's Day to all of you wonderful ladies and mothers. Thank you so much for spending your Saturday with me. You are all awesome, and I will see you all on Wednesday. Have an awesome, awesome night, and enjoy your day tomorrow, ladies. You deserve it. Bye for now.